Hey, and welcome back to ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. I'm your host, Tafreed, the founder of ZÁY SHEEN, a brand rooted in sustainable and ethical elegance. Today, we welcome a guest who turned style into statement of purpose. April Perrin is a founder of AP Styled, a wardrobe styling and consulting firm rooted in sustainability, intentions, and timeless design. What began with a lost suitcase in Southeast Asia became a mission to change how we dress, buy, and belong in our clothes. With over 2 decades of industry experience, April isn't just styling outfits, she's curating values and actions. Her clients and audience learn that fashion can look good and do good. So get ready for a conversation about intention, impact, and future of style. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome April Perrin.
Before we jump in, if the conversations like this matters to you, we bring on people who are shaping conscious fashion, sustainability, and intentional living without the noise or performative talk. So if you would like more conversations like this, take a second to subscribe to the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. It helps the show reach the right people and it allows us to keep bringing conscious voices to the table. You can also share this webisode with someone who would appreciate. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, and thank you very much joining back here on the ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. We are here with our beautiful guest, April Perrin.
Hi,
Hey, April, welcome to the show.
happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, it is a pleasure to have you on the episode.
Thank you.
So, how far
Let's
your
dive
day is
in.
going?
It's been a hectic day so far. As I told you, I have three small kids. So our
Wow,
days, I
God
don't ease
bless.
into
Mm-hmm.
mornings. Mornings are like pants on fire. My kids are running around. How can we get them fed and out the door and on
Yeah.
time for school? But
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about this conversation today.
Oh yes, maybe it might gonna easen you up a little bit. Uh,
Yes.
you can take your frustration out here. It's fine.
I can do
So
some venting during
okay,
this session. Okay.
okay, that's fine. Looks like the Christmas season has come. There,
It did.
wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the request of my children this weekend
Hmm.
was to put up the Christmas tree. So,
Did you
voila.
made it right after the Thanksgiving or before that?
After,
Right after.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. How much you helped in that?
A lot. I I let my kids do that, but you can't really see. My kids do the bottom half of the tree. That's where
Okay.
all the non-breakable ornaments are. And then I do this top part, my husband and I do this top part of the tree because that's where all the breakable sort of, and I was trying to explain to my kids, like some of these ornaments, were from my childhood. Like they're not replaceable. So you cannot mess with those. But the ones on the bottom, those are not breakable and those are
Hmm.
replaceable.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, it reminds me of my story when I was a kid, and I helped my mom to make food, and it was kind of same thing. She did everything. I was just standing there, and that's it. But I take all the credit that I made the food. I told you what spices to put in, and make all that stuff.
You were the support, the emotional support,
Right. Yeah. And
which is just as important.
exactly. I believe so too. She was indeed of that. Yeah, speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm just curious what you had for dinner on that day.
We did a tradition. We don't always do traditional
Mm-hmm.
meals. I I might be weird in this sense, but I don't love traditional holiday food. It just
You mean
uh
turkey?
turkey dressing.
Okay.
I don't like pie. I know this is weird. I like desserts, but I'm not a big fan of pie. So the
Mm-hmm.
traditional dinners are not my favorite.
Yeah.
But we did have a traditional Thanksgiving meal in the sense that there was turkey and dressing, sweet potato casserole, and what did we have? We had an apple crumble
Hmm.
cake. So it was, for me, it's like, it's fine for one day. But I actually prefer to have non-traditional food on those holidays.
Okay.
My family is originally from Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom is a very good cook of Cajun food and Creole
Wow.
food. So that's actually
Oh.
my preference, is to have a meal that is, something that we don't get all the time, which is Cajun food or Creole food, which is where we're from in Louisiana.
Hmm. Well,
So maybe around the holidays,
yeah,
Christmas season, we'll we'll do that.
I see. Okay, yes. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I'm not in so much hunger because it's just a morning time, but maybe in a little bit. Okay, thank you very much again. Yeah, just let's get dive into it from our today's webisode.
I'm excited.
Thank you. Me too. For those watching from home who might not be familiar with you yet, please share a bit about who you are, what you do, and why this conversation is the one they should listen to.
No pressure whatsoever. So again, my name is April. I live in Virginia, and I have been um, I work right now as a wardrobe stylist and a content creator. My specialty is in sustainable fashion and advocate for sustainable fashion, really intentional shopping and shopping with the mindset of how long am I going to keep this? And that is what I
Hmm.
encourage my clients to do. That's what I encourage my Instagram audience to do. And a lot of education and awareness just around what it means to be an intentional shopper and what we buy.
Uh-huh.
Um, a lot of things led up to this moment. I worked in the fashion industry right out of college, in the apparel industry, and always thought that I would be in fashion in some form, and went down the nonprofit route. Ended up getting my master's in nonprofit studies, and wrote a master's thesis on ethical and sustainable fashion.
Hmm.
And organizations like social enterprises that were um, fashion oriented. And so through that period of time, I did a lot of learning, gathering knowledge for my master's thesis. And at the end of that, what I realized now, this was 10 years ago, there was really a lack of awareness for people. It was the start of people talking about sustainable fashion. Obviously,
Yeah.
corporations have had um, ties to social causes for years now. But at this time, I think consumers were just starting to think about, where did my clothes come from? Who made my clothes?
Right.
But at that time, I felt like there was a lack of awareness, and then a lack of opportunities, in the sense where could people go? Like, if they wanted to shop better, if they wanted to shop more sustainably, where are they going to go? What are the brands they're going to look for? What are the questions they're going to ask? Um, a lot of that information didn't exist. Fortunately, now I've seen in the past year, there has been, I mean, Gen Z, there I've seen so many content creators come out recently talking about just overall consumerism and less spending, shopping secondhand, all of that. But for me, this has been a journey that has really been, I don't know, like 20 years in the
Wow.
making, to where I am today. And there's just been a lot of knowledge and growth. And I guess for people to listen to this, the reason why people should listen, what I hope they would take away from, is that they will have some skills, some tools, some knowledge after this, that
Hmm.
they won't view shopping the same way ever again.
Right.
That they won't view consumerism in the same way, and
Right.
they will begin to ask certain questions
Hmm.
behind consumerism, behind the clothes that we wear, the people who make our clothes, that type of thing.
That's such a powerful journey, April. I'm so glad that we met.
Yeah. I'm so glad you reached out.
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned this has been 20 years in the making. What would you say was the turning point when the sustainability became central to your work?
Yeah. I talk about this a lot. I
Hmm.
had in my 20s, I went to Southeast Asia on a trip and my luggage was lost. And um, I remember thinking I had like packed, all this luggage for this trip that my good friend and I we were going to several places around Southeast Asia, and um, it was lost, and we had to go to local markets. And
Hmm.
this particular place was Indonesia. Had to go to local markets and try to find something. I
Yeah.
think I had like one extra shirt and pair of pants in my backpack as a carry on, but other than that, like I had nothing.
Hmm.
And I remember going to these local markets, and for the first time, I had this connection. I was seeing the makers, the artisans that were making clothes, making jewelry, making baskets.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember for me, it was like the first time there was this connection of these are the people behind clothing, right? Like you just, at that point, I don't think I ever thought about who made my clothes.
Mm.
Where did my clothes come from? I had bought a lot of clothes. I was into a lot of fast fashion as many 20 somethings are. I loved fashion. And so to keep up with it at that time, you had to buy a lot of fast fashion if you wanted to be on trend. And so I had amassed a huge closet of just fast
Do people
fashion.
also care about trends at that time? How many
Yeah.
years
And
ago?
not like, not, I'm not that old.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's what I wanted to know. You don't look that old, but
I I now, in fairness to you, it is not the way this trend cycle is now. I mean, it is hyper speed. No one can keep up. The way that micro trends are, I mean, they're here one day, they're
Hmm.
here for a week and gone the next. It was not that hyper speed because this was before the days of Instagram.
Okay.
Facebook was around, but this was before the days of like where we see now with TikTok, Instagram,
Hmm.
where there's so many micro trends.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean there was fast fashion absolutely was
Hmm.
around, and being a 20 something who loved fashion, there was a need for me to buy a lot of stuff. So that trip, meeting these artisans and makers, it was just a light bulb moment for me. I don't know, like for some reason the dots started connecting, and I started asking questions, and I came home from that trip. That was in October, and then I decided for the next year, the following year, that I would buy no new clothes.
Oh wow.
So for a year I didn't buy any new clothes, other than like I was running a marathon that year, so I like bought some running shoes and some stuff for the marathon. But other than that, I did
And
not buy any
no
clothes.
accessories too.
Mm,
Wow.
no, no.
That's
And honestly, like
that's
I
amazing.
didn't need it. I mean, I had
Hmm.
so much stuff, and that's what losing your luggage for a week, 10 days, whatever, will make you realize you don't really need that much stuff. Like you can get
You
by
can
with,
survive
you can
still.
survive with some basic necessities. And so over that course, that year of not buying any new clothes was really the turning point in my journey
Hmm.
of where do our clothes come from,
Right.
consumption, breaking that cycle of like having to consume and wanting to shop and buy new clothes all the time.
Yeah. That's such a great way to learn that you don't need more clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are listening to this, don't wait till your luggage gets stole or lost.
Yeah,
Try
correct.
try to be less consumed now. Start from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I forgot when we had an intro call last time, you also told me about this story. But what happened later? Did you get your luggage back or
We did. We
okay,
did. It was like
nice.
much later in the trip, and I mean that poor luggage. The fact that we ever received it truly was a miracle, because it never even left the airport. Like it never left JFK Airport. It was stuck in the airport.
Oh, it was a
And
year.
yeah, so it
Okay.
was. It was really remarkable that we did eventually receive it. And there's a picture I have somewhere of like me hugging my
Mm,
suitcase when we finally received it,
yeah.
like 10 days later, or 8 days. I can't remember. It was like 8 or 10 days later or something.
What was one thing that you were very concerned of and value the most out of that suitcase?
I don't, you know, it's just
Or it was just
stuff.
random things?
It's just stuff. No, there
Okay.
wasn't anything. I think it was just try my own clothes, right? Like it
Hmm.
was really hard to go to these local I mean, there were no stores. I mean, we were literally going to markets, and
Yeah.
so it's not like I could run to the mall or to a Target or
Yeah.
no, those don't exist. So I think it was really hard to try and find just basic necessities
Right.
and we were like hopping around to different cities and countries and stuff. So I think it was just more of like, okay, this is my stuff. I know it's going to fit, I know what I
Right.
have, but there was
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing of like high value in
Yeah.
there.
The one year that when you stopped buying anything, even the accessories, one thing that you craved the most to buy, or you were in need to get that thing, but you say, no, I'm not gonna, ditch this rule that I made for myself.
It was not one thing, it was
Okay.
many things.
Okay, name a few things.
It was hard in the fact that when you are someone who shops a lot, and
Mhm.
I was definitely someone who shopped a lot for that dopamine hit for, oh, I've had a bad day or I've had a bad week or I want to celebrate or I'm going to this function, I'm going to this event, I want a new outfit, I'm going to this, whatever. When so much of your life is encompassed by shopping, and then you're not doing that anymore, it's
Hmm.
hard. It's really hard. And so I did a lot of journaling that year, um, and, just writing down my feelings. And I was trying to figure out other ways to put, my time and energy. Like the dopamine hit that I would get from shopping, what are other things that I could do, like exercising, going for a walk, going to have coffee with a friend? What are other things that I could do other than spending money
Yeah.
or the dopamine hit of shopping? So I it's hard to say there was like one thing, because it was honestly, it was breaking for me the habit of shopping, of
Hmm.
this constant need that I felt. I mean, my God, this was before Instagram. So like
Yeah.
even now, I mean, it would I tell my clients often that if they want to change their shopping habits and if they
Yeah.
want to figure out their style, they really have to get off social media for a period of time, because it is, rife with consumerism, and we're constantly being targeted and marketed to. And if
Right.
you are someone who struggles with wanting to consume and shop all the
Right.
time, being on social media is hard. So I didn't have that piece, but I was very much used to going into
Hmm.
stores, going on my days off. This was before kids. Like before I met my husband. So yeah, I mean, I would go to the mall. I'd go to the mall with friends, or like do other kind of online shopping.
Right. It reminds me of a question, one of the most asked question we have here in the webisodes. And a community asked this question who listened to this one. Um, they say that I am so addicted to shopping when I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say about that? How can we overcome, or I mean, I don't even know how you can shop when you're bored. I don't even shop when I'm happy. So first, first of all, of course, I don't need anything, but second of all, I don't got enough funds for that. But
Yes, yeah,
right? So how people shop when they're bored?
right. Well, I mean, this is a multifaceted question. One, this is what gave rise to fast fashion because so many people do want to shop because they're bored or for the dopamine hit. The reality is we all have a budget. And this is why fast fashion can thrive because someone can get that quick dopamine hit, spend $15 on an accessory, a shirt, right? And they're not investing a lot of money, but it's like, oh, I got that fix. I can, and now like places like Shein and Temu, I mean, you can get quite a few things, I would imagine, for $20, right?
Right.
That's not a lot of money when we're talking about clothing. So I think the advice that I would have if you are one of those people that when you're bored or in your downtime and you're struggling with not shopping is you got to find something else. You got to find another dopamine hit, preferably one that's not, you don't have to spend money and
Yeah.
is not costly to the environment. Like go for a walk, phone a friend, do some, what I have learned if I use my hands, so that means like going out into our yard, doing yard work or gardening, or if I'm like creating something with my kids, I'll do crafts with my kids. That is also helpful for me. I'll go for a walk with a friend. It achieves the same thing
Yeah.
for me. So finding whatever that fix is for you that hopefully one doesn't cost money
Right.
and two doesn't cost the planet that
Right.
like our overconsumption does.
100%. I I I believe it's the same thing that dopamine hit and that's why we're doom scrolling all day, and that's where the companies come in when they advertise stuff, and they just make it so tempting for us that we just fall into it and just consume a new thing,
Yeah, yeah. It's
right?
those tiny, tiny like or those microdosing of the dopamine hits that really is not fulfilling us at all. If
Yeah,
anything, it's the opposite.
that's right. So after that year when you of not buying anything new, how did your approach to fashion and styling start to change?
Um, I I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Was it perfect? Did I like stop buying fast fashion during that time? No. I was, in my mid 20s.
Hmm.
Um, But I will say I became much more thoughtful in how I bought things and why I bought them. And then um really for me, that's where the journey began on learning more about where our clothes come from,
Hmm.
and how our clothes are made. And really starting to peek behind the curtain of fast fashion. And these production cycles and then so like the impacts not only for the people who make the clothing but also for our planet and the impacts that it has. So I think for me it just that whole year really it helped me to break the cycle of the constant shopping first and foremost.
Hmm.
Break that habit that I had of like, I need to buy something new all the time. So it really broke that cycle. And then it started me on this journey of, well, wait, where do our clothes come from? And who made my clothes, and then learning and not just that but like learning about composition and fabrics and what's better, what's going to last longer in terms of how a garment is made.
Yeah.
So really that's where it kind of kicked off this whole journey to
Right.
where I am today, being curious, going back to what you were saying, we were talking about earlier, like staying curious.
Exactly. So as we follow historically human nature, when we being stopped for something, we more, attract towards that. So
Mhm.
after that whole year when you bought nothing, is your next month like a January was like, oh, you spent $500 and, bought a lot of stuff to cover that whole year or something like that?
No, I remember writing this down. I wanted to write down like how much money I saved by not buying things.
Mm.
But then I began to I did not do that.
Okay.
I tried really hard again. Like it wasn't perfect.
Hmm.
But I tried very hard not to just then go overspend for the next year because I could. I don't remember how much I spent, but no, I definitely wanted to keep track
Hmm.
of how much I was spending. And for me, it was like it was less about how much I was spending and more about, do I need this? And like, if I don't, why am I buying it? Right? And
Hmm.
so I began to ask myself series of questions,
Right.
which I still do to this day. I ask myself a series of questions before I get ready to buy something.
Can you give me three questions that I could ask myself before buying a garment?
Hmm. Yeah. First and foremost, do I need it? Like, do I really need it?
Right.
And I think the thing I see this with my husband. I think it's less so for men. My husband has stuff in his closet that he has had since he was in high school. Um, And he is so
That's
good,
bro
like,
right
in
there.
terms yeah, I mean, in terms of sustainability, he tells me all the time. He was like, "I've had this since college." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Okay,
I can
that's a
tell."
flex, you know? We flex that. Or
I
I
know.
had this for like 6 years, 7 years. I have my t-shirt for 6 years now. I flex it all the time.
Yes, yes. And I think for men, I don't like to, like, put people in stereotypes, but I think for men, it's a lot easier. But I first and foremost, do I need it?
Hmm.
Like, really need it? And if I do, can I borrow it? Or can I borrow it from a friend? Can I
Hmm.
buy it secondhand?
That's a very
So
good one.
that's the thought process I always go through my head is, first of all, do I really need this? And of course, we always need things. And
Yeah.
this might be, now I do this with my kids. Like if my kids, I have 3 boys, they're constantly going through clothes and shoes and things like that. But if
Hmm.
they need something random for a school event, I will be like, okay, can I borrow this from a friend? And then I will
Hmm.
phone a friend, text the mom group and say, does somebody have this random thing that I can borrow?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, yes, they do. So then I'm borrowing it and I can give it back. Or most of the times the moms are like, I don't need it back. Just donate, give it to somebody else when you're done.
Right. Yeah.
So if I need it and I can't borrow it, can I buy it secondhand?
Yeah.
And then I will go through that process. And then if I can't buy it secondhand, can I buy it from a small business or at least a business that is not, you know, disrupting the planet, treating its workers poorly.
Yeah.
And then if I can't do that, like as a last resort, then I'm buying it with the intention to last, right? Like we all go through this like decision, at least I do. I go through this like pyramid of this decision tree, like Amazon being the last stop. Like I don't want to support Amazon unless I absolutely have to. But, I go through all of those
Why is that?
questions. Um, Amazon, why I don't want to support Amazon?
Yeah. Why
Um,
is your
n-
least option?
I would say
Even though if
and
it's so convenient for the people and for us to buy and just sit, down and just with a few finger taps, we can just order it. Why you don't
I mean,
recommend it?
that's why they are Amazon, because they have made shopping so incredibly efficient and easy. And we might have to table this, but one thing I've learned is that yes, people want convenience. And even becoming a parent, I've realized this even more. Time, have limited time, often limited resources. And so Amazon makes it very easy for you. And I live
Hmm.
in a very small community. So like I have there's a lack of resources in terms of just stores. And
Yeah.
sometimes Amazon is really like the only place if I need it quickly. Um, and to get here to me, and I don't have time to drive 30 minutes to get it, then, yes, sometimes we use Amazon. The reason I don't like to support Amazon is one, because they don't need my money. They have billions, and I mean, I'm only making Jeff Bezos richer and richer. That's not my goal. And it's not just Amazon, it's any of these major corporations. Like in my mind, I'm always thinking, can I find this secondhand, or can I support a smaller business, an independent business, or like
Hmm.
people who are at least trying to treat their workers fairly and not take over the planet and could care less about the cost of what the cost is to what they're doing. I mean, for places like Amazon, Target, Walmart, all the big brand stores, I mean, it's all about the bottom line for them and how much money can we possibly make no
Right.
matter what. So that's why I'm always, they're like the last on my list. Not that I don't shop there,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you have to, but
Yeah,
as a last resort, that for me, it's often a last resort.
I see. That's that's very good. You should remember that. You mentioned in just our conversation before, you mentioned that when you started diving deeper into fabrics and productions, what surprised you the most? How our clothes are actually made?
A few things have surprised me. Um, One, I think what has surprised me the most in like the past 10 to 15 years is how the quality of clothing has declined dramatically.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas 20 years ago, you could go to a fast fashion store, take your pick, H&M, Zara, even places like Gap. I remember being in college and high school and college and going into Gap and buying a 100% leather jacket,
Hmm.
100% leather skirt. And
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't cheap for that time period, but now they would sell the same jacket skirt and it's going to be completely 100% polyester, synthetic materials.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the price. This is what drives me bananas now is how much brands are charging us for fully synthetic clothing. And the reason why is because synthetic clothing is far cheaper to make than clothes from natural materials. And so I think the thing that has surprised me the
Facts.
most is just that the cost of clothing, for a long time, the cost of clothing was not increasing. Now the
Uh-huh.
cost of clothing is increasing and the quality, it's like we're going like this. Like the cost of
Hmm.
clothing is starting to rise, which it didn't rise for a long time, but then the quality
Yeah,
is
it's
decreasing.
declining.
It's
Yeah.
declining at such a rapid rate where I I will walk into a store. I mean, I was in a boutique over the weekend and again, a very small boutique, and the majority of the clothes in that store were over $200 full all synthetic. I saw no natural materials and I'm like, why would I pay $300 for a fully synthetic dress
Yeah.
that still has some buttons loose, like the one of them that had beads that were like, the quality is not there. So that has surprised me probably the most over the past however 10 to 15 years.
Wow. I mean, there's one thing is sustainability, the other thing is ethical processes and the
Mm.
material that they're sourcing. It's it's just crazy how, it's just declining day by day now.
Day by day.
We need a lot of work into it. Of course, I did had a webisode with over 40 plus guests in this industry, and I can definitely see or can say that we are in a good hands, but it gonna take a little time. We just need support from the people to it's not just like we want you to be 100% sustainable. As you said, it's very hard or maybe nearly impossible at this time. Um but a conscious decision a day or at a moment can make you or take you there where we want it to
Yes.
go in the future.
Yes. You're absolutely right. And I think if that is the message people need to understand and
Right.
know is that it is a journey and it is
Hmm.
never perfect. And I
Right.
think sometimes in the sustainability space, you have a lot of people who are staunch supporters of sustainability and,
Right.
can get really, really become really divisive. But the thing is, like, you
Right.
have to understand, you got to meet people where they are.
Right.
And that's one thing I've realized is like,
100%.
if it is not practical or if it's not affordable for people, they're
Mm,
not going to do it. And so you have to
that's
figure out
right.
ways that you got to meet people where they are. And if it is one step in their journey, like I had a friend tell me the other day that based on like she had come to a documentary night that I hosted, and she said, I started getting milk in glass bottles. And she was like, I know it's not much. She was like, but I thought she has 3 kids. She said,
Yes.
this is something that I can do. Like I
Right.
can reuse these bottles. And she said, and that is one step for me. And I'm hoping there will be another step. And that's the thing. You
Wow.
start small,
I, I,
start small and then
exactly. I'm
keep
I'm
going.
so happy and so proud to hear that. I mean, that is all about I'm trying to do on the Zayshin webisodes too, because I can say that people we have to meet people where they are. If I just, bring certain type of people who just emphasize to perfection always, people can resonate with them. I need people or the guests or voices that could touch the regular 9 to 5 Joe, who
Mm-hmm.
can, a regular mom. That the story that you just shared, her kids still gonna drink the milk every
Mm-hmm.
day, whole years to come, just by using the glass bottles. Let's imagine how much plastic waste she'd reduced over the years,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yep.
small things where we can all start with.
Yes.
Wow.
I want to share why Zayshin exists. Most of us are used to buying clothes that look good for a moment, but don't last in quality, meaning, or impact. Zayshin was built the opposite way. Every piece we create is designed to be timeless, not a trend driven, ethically produced, thoughtfully sourced, and made to be worn for years, not weeks. We believe sustainability doesn't need to be loud or performative. It should feel natural, intentional, and human. Just like the conversation you're watching right now. If you care about what you wear, who made it, and the impact it leaves behind, Zayshin was created for you. You can explore the collection and learn more at www.zayshin.com or tap the first link in the description. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, April. Our next segment is rapid fire.
Oh
Let's
boy. Okay.
spice some things up. You
All
ready
right.
for this?
I'm ready.
First question. One word your wardrobe would say about you.
Colorful.
Colorful. Wow, I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Vintage find or new investment?
Vintage find always.
Okay, nice. Favorite natural neutral right now? Oh man, I wrote this. I don't even know what I did. Anyways, next question. If you understood that, just let me know. Okay, let's go with the next one. Never mind. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
let's go to the next one.
A style rule you broke and loved it.
Oh gosh, this just happened recently. I swore I would never wear barrel jeans.
Mm,
And I was wrong. I bought a pair. I like them. I'm wearing them right now, actually.
okay, nice. The piece you will never give away.
Gosh, there are a couple of those in my closet, secondhand. One is a Calvin Klein. It's a Calvin Klein collection leather trench coat that I found secondhand,
Yeah.
and I will never ever get rid of that. And then I have a few like vintage pieces that I have found that are just. I mean, that's the thing with vintage and secondhand, especially vintage, is you can't get rid of it because you're never going to find it again.
Hmm.
Like so there are a few of my vintage
Right.
dresses that I would never get rid of either.
Exactly. Nice. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Which brand you go with?
Which coffee brand?
Yeah.
So, it's hard, but where I live, there's a local coffee shop called Grit, and
Okay.
they have their own, they brew their own coffee and roast their
Hmm.
own beads. And that's probably where I go the most.
Okay.
Their coffee, I mean, just the flavors of their coffee are
I
excellent.
saw you drinking something at the moment. What is that? Is that the same
Iced
coffee?
coffee. Yep,
Oh wow.
iced coffee. I
Nice.
am a fan of iced coffee too.
I
I
love that
even in
too.
the winter, I
Hmm.
will drink iced coffee.
Exactly. One habit you have ditched for good.
One habit I've ditched for good. Um,
Let's
I
say, let's say one habit you have ditched for good in fashion and one in real life.
okay. So in fashion, um, I I mean, I would say like I don't how can I word this? I would say in fashion,
Mm-hmm.
I will always look for something secondhand before I buy new. So I ditched the habit of
Mm,
buying new first.
wow.
So instead, if that makes sense. So if I
Yeah.
need something, I'm not looking new first. Like first and foremost, my habit is, can I find this secondhand?
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
So that is a habit that I have broken. I can't always find it secondhand, so I'll buy it new, but that is always my go-to.
Right.
And then in life, I don't know. What habits have I
Let's say about
dieting?
dieting.
Um, I'm trying to think. I'm a fairly healthy eater. I don't really eat I don't eat red meat. That's
Okay.
probably something that I
Yeah, that's
ditched a
good.
long time ago.
Okay.
And I try not to, I don't eat a lot of meat in general.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably something that I ditched a long time ago and
Nice.
still continue.
Okay. Good enough. I'm sorry, I just made up this question. Okay. Bag or no bag?
Okay. Um, Now as a stylist, I feel like I have to say bag because like a bag, you're talking about like a handbag?
Yes.
Okay. As a stylist, I feel, yeah, I kind of have to, sometimes it can make the look. There is always a bag in my car though, because if I am going somewhere, I always have to have a bag in my car, either for groceries or whatever. Like, so I'm going to say bag. We'll just simplify it bag.
Simplify it. Perfect. Oh, what's your go-to shopping tip?
Hmm. Check the fabric tag before you buy, always. And if it does not fit, like, do not like if you put it on, if the fabric's okay, so check fit and fabric. Those are two things I harp on.
Oh gosh, it reminds me of a story I was watching on Instagram, and she showed a tag of a brand, and it does say this tag is made with 100% cotton, but the
Right.
shirt
The
or
tag.
the yeah, the tag is 100% made of cotton, but the shirt or whatever was that was, totally synthetic fabrics.
Yes. That is fast fashion brands are notorious for that. Unbelievable.
Wow. Okay, last but not least, favorite moment from a styling session you will always remember.
Oh, favorite moment from a styling session. Um, this is such a great question. I don't know if I will say my favorite moments in styling session are when mostly women, because most of my
Mm-hmm.
clients are women, are when you see them look in the mirror and like they get the smile. Like you can tell they feel good in what they're
Yeah,
wearing.
right.
Um, to me, that is the best moment. Or some of my proudest moments are when people will message me or DM me on Instagram and they will send me their secondhand outfits and they'll say, I thought of you. I'm wearing this vintage dress tonight,
Wow.
or I thought of you. I found this
It's
secondhand
value too
scarf.
much.
So
Yeah.
yeah, those are probably like my favorite style moments.
Oh, wow. Very nice. I'm so glad you at least liked one of the questions. Okay. Last question. Finish this sentence. Sustainable fashion is
Complex.
complex. What does that mean?
It's complex for a number of reasons. Um, and I mean, you can, when I'm thinking about this, I can think of from all different points of view. If we're talking about sustainability and the fact of the impact of planet and resources,
Hmm.
that piece is complex. If we're
Yeah.
talking about it from the impact of the garment workers
Hmm.
and how much they're paid and the working conditions, that is complex. When
Yeah.
we're talking about the cost often of sustainable fashion versus
Mm-hmm.
people's budgets and not being able to afford sustainable fashion,
Mm-hmm.
that is complex. So or maybe I should have said nuanced instead of complex. I I say that because it is not a black or white thing. It is not yes, no, as much as I would like it to be, because there are so many people involved, right? And there's so much money at stake that it is nuanced and it is complex.
Beautifully answered. Thank you very much, April, for this segment. That's about it. So,
Okay.
our next segment is also the most interesting one, which I was waiting for. And here we gotta talk about A as in apple, P as in Perrin. I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. A as in April, P as in Perrin. What is it?
Apple works too. It's
Apple
fine.
works too. Okay. Okay. Yes, let's talk about this. What is April Perrin, AP?
Okay, so April Perrin is my name, and AP
Okay.
Styled is
Actually, you know
my
what? I'm sorry, I'm
business.
cutting you off. But I just realized that after 3 days, what does AP means? I said, okay, her brand AP, AP. Okay, I did all my research and that. And after a few days, I was doing a work or on something, and then I said, oh, AP might be April Perrin.
Yes, you
Oh
got it.
gosh. Okay,
You
at
got it.
least I got it.
AP Styled is my name.
Ah, yes. Okay, yes. Now please go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's it. What is AP, or what is AP Style?
Yeah.
AP
I
Style.
mean,
So,
what you do in this? What's uh what's how you help people?
as a person, as a business. So I let's back up for a minute. I
Yeah.
was trained as a wardrobe stylist in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Went to New York, and was styled for a brief moment with Stacey London, who you probably do not know, but she was like an icon of my time in terms of a wardrobe stylist. She had the show with Clinton Kelly. It was called What Not to Wear, in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. And so I was trained with her
Yeah.
in New York as a stylist.
You
And
said
then
Stacy London?
Yep, Stacey
Yeah,
London.
I
Lives in
found
New
her.
York.
Yeah.
She lives in New York. And um so I always had styling in the back of
Oh,
my mind,
mm-hmm.
and wanted to do styling, but for it's really hard sometimes, like in that time I was working full time at another job at a nonprofit, and I mean styling was, and I would always help friends, but then a few years back, after the birth of my second child, I wanted something that was flexible for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, you know what, I'm going to launch my own styling business and see what happens, and do it with content creation as well. And the content creation piece I also enjoy because it's a way to spread information about, styling, fabric, sustainable fashion, all of those things. And so launched AP Styled 3-ish years ago. And, I work with clients in person. I work with clients virtually.
Hmm.
It just depends on, what their needs are. I just recently joined Index, which I don't know if you're familiar with. Index is an app that allows people to digitize their wardrobes, and they have their own. They have about 30 stylists, and I am one of their stylists. So now I can help people from all over the world. They have 150,000 monthly users on
Wow.
the app.
Hmm.
So now I can help people. Like last week, I helped someone in Mexico City. And the cool thing is I have access to their digital wardrobe. So I don't
Hmm.
have to physically be there, but I can see everything.
So they take a
Um,
picture and upload on the app?
yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it's the way that indexes, they make it really easy and efficient. And then I, as a stylist, go in, I can see this person's digital closet, and then I
Hmm.
can put outfits together. And it's great for me because then I can sort, whereas if I'm going into someone's closet, there's a lot there, and then I'm having to say, where are your shoes? Where are your accessories? Where are your jackets? It's all like all over the place. But the great thing about this, a digital wardrobe,
Hmm.
is that I can sort by, okay,
Right.
let me see the client's shoes. So I can sort by the shoes.
Hmm.
Um, so I just started doing that as well. But yeah, that is kind of like AP styled in a box.
Beautiful. What are the three rules that you usually follow or use to help with to the client who wanted to make a new wardrobe? New wardrobe or rearrange their wardrobe with the existing things?
Yeah. So it really depends on the client and where they are.
Hmm.
So before I ever come in or talk with a client, I send sort of like a style assessment and questionnaire
Yeah.
um, that and ask a series of questions. There's not just, I wouldn't say there's just three, but I mean, one thing that I'm trying to figure out if I'm working with a client is who are we shopping for, and do they know who we're shopping for? I've got some clients
Hmm.
who have a fantasy version of themselves, so they shop for this like ideal version of themselves. So there will be like a bunch of stuff that's been in their closet that's beautiful, but they're never
Yeah.
wearing it. Well, why aren't they wearing it?
Hmm.
Oh, because they have small children and it's not practical, and like it's not,
Yeah.
so really honing down who are they, or are they
Hmm.
dressing for this version of who they are? Like knowing, okay, I may not love this version right now. We can work towards this, but we've got to be dressing and fitting our lifestyle right now, whatever stage of life we're in. And then really figuring out what are they wearing in their closet, and then how
Yeah.
can we pare down what they're not wearing,
Hmm.
um, and get really clear about what if there are pieces that are missing, like how can we fill in the gaps there? My ethos behind everything that I do in styling is intention. So I'm never going to recommend like, oh yeah, let's just buy this. Let's just buy like I've realized as I get older too, I want less stuff. Like just more stuff feels overwhelming. And I find
Hmm.
that a lot, especially in moms. Um, just because kids alone have a lot of stuff. They come with a lot of stuff. You have to buy them a lot of stuff. And so I often see, not just for myself, but for clients, like we're
Yeah.
trying to minimize as much as we can, get rid of the clutter and the chaos as much as we can. And so everything I do in terms of a stylist is always around intention.
If a
Um,
client says that, hey, I like this piece and I want this piece in my wardrobe, but it's a fast fashion, how you convince them not to buy, or what is your reaction to it?
yeah, I mean, I tell people this, that I am not. If you see a fast fashion piece,
Hmm.
first of all, I would say, what's the style? Can we find something similar secondhand? That's what I'm always going to say first. Like,
Wow.
first of all, what do you like about this piece? Is
Yeah.
it the fit, the color, the style, whatever? Let's figure out, let's assess the garment that you're looking at.
Yes.
Figure out, can we find something similar that you might like just as well? And if not, and this is within budget, right? Like, I'm always mindful of people's budget constraints, and we all have to abide by a budget. Then, okay, buy it, but buy it with the intention of keeping it for a long time, right? Like, we're not buying this just to have fun for one season or for this party, and then we're getting rid of it. So again, my thought process with the clients is really helping them understand. And I always tell people to sleep on it. Like, do not impulse shop. Sleep on it, put it in your cart online, your digital cart, sleep on it for 24 hours, 48 hours. If you still want it, you're still thinking about it in 24 or 48 hours, then okay, buy it.
That
But
works.
don't just like, oh, I'm going to get this. And unfortunately, so much of what we see now is this, with content creators, influencers, and just the online marketing and advertising is all about this hurry. Like, it's going to sell out, or it's on sale today. You better get it today. You gotta get it today. It may not be here tomorrow. And then it forces people to make impulse decisions. And then
Right.
I see it all too often. They end up with a closet full of impulse pieces
Right.
that they never wear, or they wore one time.
Yeah. The one exercise you just mentioned about putting your stuff into the cart for the next 24, 48 hours, it actually, personally for myself, it does work, because sometimes if I add something to the cart and I open the app for after 15, 20 days, and it reminds me, oh, I added this into the cart. I
Right.
never
You're like,
bought
oh
it.
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that means I don't need it, right?
Yeah.
Similar to this, or add on to this, what are, let's say, 2 exercises that you would recommend to the people who are watching this right now to try this week?
2 exercises to try this week.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, this is hard around the holidays.
Oh yeah, that's like
w-
actually the best time. Let me put you in more difficult situation. Let's give us 3.
Okay. 3
Yeah.
things to exercises to do over the holidays.
For
Make a
less
list.
consumption.
Yes, make a list first
Mhm.
and foremost. I think often, myself included, we let the algorithm serve us. Oh, you might like this. Oh, you should wear this. This person is wearing this. And I see it, I'm like, oh, maybe I do need this. Is this on
Mhm.
my list? No, it is not. So
Yeah.
first and foremost, make a list. Don't deviate from that list. As much as the internet, the algorithm will be like, you need XYZ. No, you do not, if it is not on your list. So that's where I would start first and foremost for the holiday season. Make a list, stick with the list.
Right.
And then I would say, see if you can find at least one item on that list secondhand.
Hmm.
And I'm going to tell the audience a great resource. And it's called Beni, Beni. I love these folks who founded Beni. It is essentially a plugin. There's an app, or you can have a plugin on your desktop. And what Beni will do is, let's say you go to your favorite brand online, clothing brand.
Yeah.
You pick a brand, whatever.
Mhm.
Beni will pop up on your little screen, and let's say, oh, I really love this sweater. Beni will pop up and will show you all the secondhand versions of this particular thing that you're looking at. Now, it could be the
Wow.
same thing, or it could be something that is similar. It's not always the
Okay.
exact same. Sometimes it's the exact match. But it will show you, and it pulls from all the secondhand websites like Poshmark, Depop, eBay, The Real Real, Vestiaire. And it populates all the secondhand clothing options for you. So really, they've made the process of trying to find something secondhand so easy. And I love them for this. So that would be my second recommendation. Make the list. See if you can find one item on that list secondhand using the Benny app. And then third would be check the fabric tag. Do not, like, I harp on this so much over the winter time. Do not pay a lot of money for a fully synthetic sweater. Like, if anyone walks away with the message, do not let anyone tell you that a 100% synthetic sweater is worth $150, because it is not. So check the fabric tag always, especially when it comes to sweaters.
That was awesome. You emphasize on secondhand so much, and that is awesome. I love that. People definitely, if you're listening to it, definitely do that. Try secondhand. It definitely gonna save you your money. First of all, you can have more in your savings. Second of all, you can buy, maybe if you're lucky enough, you get some vintage pieces, right? And of course, if you're buying synthetic fabrics or polyester, even it costs you more money. It and also it's not good for your body too. I mean, all the toxins and all the other stuff, how they made it. It's
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah. And I do talk a lot about secondhand, but it's because I really believe like there is something for everyone. If you can't afford a higher end sustainable brand, I get that, you can shop secondhand.
Yeah.
If you want something that's unique that not everybody has, you can shop secondhand. I mean, it's, you can find unique vintage pieces. And the beauty of shopping secondhand is that, like, it's really a win-win for everyone in terms of budgets, in terms of the environment, in terms of, I mean, I support our local secondhand stores here often. So I'm supporting small businesses,
Right.
So yeah, I will preach that secondhand message till like that is a hill I am willing to die on, honestly.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you very much, April, for this segment. And now we have our next segment, which called Community Questions.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So yes, community question is, um, we upload a story onto our social channels. We upload about the guests who are upcoming, and their profile about them, and ask the audience what are the questions they want to ask to the guests. So I'm just a middleman in this. If
Okay.
any question
It's fair.
offends you, that's not
It's
me.
fair. All right.
Okay.
I hear you.
Okay. Okay. First question. Um, I feel like I have clothes but nothing to wear. How do I figure out
Oh,
my actual style?
classic. Classic. Um, this is, I would say, it's okay. You're in good company. Most of the people I talk to, many of the women I talk to, this is the classic case. Too many clothes, not enough to wear, or nothing to wear.
Yeah.
If that is the case,
Yeah.
then you got to figure out your style. And what I say, I think I mentioned this earlier, what I tell my clients, what I tell my social media audience, if you want to figure out your style, you need to get off social media for a minute. And that might
Okay.
be really hard depending on the age. And why I say that, why this piece is so important is because I just did this post a few weeks ago of like the algorithm is dressing you, right? Like we are constantly being fed. This is what's cool. This is what's trendy. This is what you should be wearing, whether you like it or not. But what we see, and I'm married to a psychologist, so I can fact check this with him, my husband, is that when we see things over and over again, repetitively, I forget the scientific name of it, but it has this impact that when then we begin to think, oh, then this is what I must wear, or this is what I must buy because everybody is wearing this.
FOMO,
Yeah.
maybe?
Well, FOMO might be one of it. Right. And so I tell people to get offline for a
Yeah.
period of time is to get the voices out of your head, get the algorithm out of your head,
Yeah.
go out into public, I mean, if you're in New York, amazing. But like the best people watching in the world is New York. Go out and look in nature, see what colors speak to you. Go into stores, like physically touch things, try on things, be like, yeah, I don't like this. Look in magazines, look in books. Really think about your lifestyle.
Right.
Like I said, there's a lot of people who curate a closet for a lifestyle that they do not have. And so figure out what your lifestyle is, what you're doing every day, what makes you feel good. And that is irrespective of what is trendy and what you're seeing online. Now, of course, there will be a point at which those things merge. Even for me, there are certain trends now. Like I never thought I would wear barrel jeans. I tried them on. I was like, no, actually, I like the way these fit. So if you want to figure out your style, get offline, go outside, go in nature, go into stores, take notes, and realize figuring out your style is a journey. It is not something that happens overnight. It is a lot of trial and error. You're going to wear stuff and be like, yeah, I don't really like the way that looked. That's fine. Try again until you figure it out.
That is awesome. I mean, people, I had a lot of guests on the webisodes. I respect all of them, and everyone bring their own unique insights, experiences on this stuff. I mean, the things. But April, you bring the practical exercises or the facts or the tips that people can actually work on. This is amazing. I mean, everything that you, from start till now, you said, it's so easy. And the only person it gonna be benefit the most is the person who is applying to it.
Yeah. Good.
Practical stuff.
I'm so happy to hear because I really do not like listening to podcasts where people like give a lot of advice and it's up here. It's not granular. And it's like, well, that's great. But now what am I supposed to do?
You are fulfilling the purpose of this ZAY SHEEN webisode. Seriously. Yeah. That is what I need. That is what I wanted for the people to present to them so they can actually get the real life examples and try into their life, which are not too hard, so they're never gonna try it. Or they can, step into the water, see how deep it is, get comfortable. And that's exactly, you go step by step with each thing. This is awesome. No,
Yay! I'm so happy to hear. Thank
no
you.
cap what they say. Yeah, right? Next question. I don't have enough funds, money, but I want to dress better. How can I?
Yeah, I love this question. And of course, it will go back to secondhand always. There is a wonderful content creator. He's also a stylist on Index as well. His name is Elliot Dupree. I highly recommend people checking him out. He has this series on his Instagram that says, if you can't dress well cheaply, you can't dress well at all. And I firmly believe that because with access to secondhand clothing, you can dress well. And I think part of that is, again, getting off of social media and also realizing this notion that people are buying stuff and influencers are showcasing us new stuff every day, that is not practical. That is not real life. It is not realistic for 99% of the population. And they are getting that stuff. They are receiving stuff in kind.
Yeah.
And so realizing that as a consumer, like, this is not practical. So if you have a limited budget, I would say absolutely check your local consignment, your secondhand stores, your thrift stores. There is the borrowed, what do you call it? Buy nothing groups on Facebook,
Hmm.
which I've always been a part of, borrowing things from friends. And again, figuring out like if there's nothing I love more
Yeah.
than I'll see a look, especially if it's like luxury designer. And of course, that is well out of my budget. I love
Hmm.
to have a look, an inspiration, and then I will go to a thrift store, I'll go to a vintage store, and I
Yeah.
will see what I can do to recreate it within a budget.
Yeah.
So if you have a limited budget, find your source of inspiration, then go looking, in your local consignment thrift stores, secondhand stores, or, use this Benny app if you want to shop online for secondhand options.
Beautiful. Our next question from community questions is um what are a few pieces I should invest in that will work with the most outfits?
That's a great question. Um, I think it depends on lifestyle. It depends on a myriad of things. Like what I would tell a 20 something to invest in is going to be different
Mm,
than a mom of 3 living in the suburbs, right? I think it depends on your lifestyle. Things that, in my opinion, have been worth the investment, kind of regardless of age, lifestyle, are what are the things that you wear time and time again? For me, I wear a lot of denim. So, denim is something that I am willing to invest in because I wear it over and over again and I need it to last, right? So, some of my jeans I have had for 10 years.
yeah.
So, things that you know that you are going to wear consistently, invest in them and make sure they are good quality. Like I have, I was telling you, I have this Calvin Klein collection leather trench coat. Some people may not like a trench coat, so I wouldn't tell somebody, "Oh, invest in a trench coat." That may not be
Hmm.
their style, but I love a trench coat. And this
Yeah.
is leather. It was secondhand. It's beautiful. That is something I was willing to invest in. For me, I would also be willing, the things like boots, things
Hmm.
that I know that I'm going to wear consistently and I need them to last. That is what I'm willing to invest in and do a little bit of research
Yeah.
to figure out like what are the brands, what are the materials, do the due diligence before. And
Hmm.
I think this is a good place to note that just because something is expensive does not mean that it's going to last. And that wasn't always the case, but very much so. We talked about the decline of the quality of clothing as a whole. That is across the board. That is from luxury fashion all the way down to fast fashion.
100%. It reminds me of a thing. I went to a mall in Manhattan. Not gonna name the brand. And I went to their employee and, I just started the conversation and asking about the brand because I was very curious. And that was a sustainable brand
Mm.
in the mall. And in the conversation, he mentioned a fast fashion brand who owned that sustainable brand.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the factories where both were making was the same.
Mhm.
And the price tag on the sustainable one was 6 times more than
Mhm.
the same, almost the same stuff they're selling as cheap on the
Yep.
other store of theirs.
Yes. Yes.
So I mean, if you're paying the 600 for that jacket or $30 for that jacket at the same place, it's almost the same quality. So it doesn't mean
Yes.
that if you're paying more, it's gonna last you longer.
Absolutely. And I think that is such an important message for people to hear, especially when we're talking about buying
Yeah.
new clothes and fast fashion,
Mm,
because often there's a misconception. Well, oh, it's luxury, or it's a lot of money. It's got to be better quality. No,
no.
that is not the case. And so I think it's important for you as the consumer to know
Yeah.
about fabric quality and to know what you're looking for. So if you want a piece to invest in,
Yeah.
you got to read the reviews. If you can go into a store, like I know that's not always possible to go to a brick and mortar, go in. There should be no loose like threads. The buttons should feel secure. You
Yeah.
know, like the quality, the seam should not be coming undone. These are things that
Mm-hmm.
when you're looking up for investing in pieces and the quality of a garment, you
Right.
really got to know what you're looking for, because you're right. Like oftentimes, especially if it's owned by a larger conglomerate, by a fast fashion conglomerate, often they're probably made in the same factory.
Yeah. Last but not least, I like this question actually. How do I build a wardrobe that fits my lifestyle instead of random purchases?
Yes, yes. I love this question. Again, being very clear and honest about what your lifestyle is and getting away from this is what is trendy, this is what is fun, what is practical for you right now.
Hmm.
And you know, that's going to look very different from a 20-something-year-old living in Manhattan versus 40-something-year-old me, mom living in the suburbs, right? Like I might love the stuff of like going out in New York City or going to a museum, but that is not my lifestyle right now. And so
Yeah.
I have to be very clear and honest with myself. And
Hmm.
that's what I would tell this person, is that if you want a wardrobe
Yeah.
that is going to meet your lifestyle, you got to be very honest with yourself of what those things are, what you're wearing on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and then build your wardrobe around those hero pieces. This is what I call them. They're like
Hmm.
the foundation of your wardrobe. For me right now, that's a lot of, and this is what I realized in digitizing my wardrobe, is I don't like buying basics. I am very much attracted to vintage or, you know, more shiny, beautiful pieces. Well, that's not practical. I'm not wearing my vintage dresses every day to take my kids to school. I
Yeah.
mean, once or twice a year, they're coming out for a party and that's it. But what is your lifestyle? Build
Hmm.
your wardrobe around those foundational pieces, those hero pieces that you're going to wear time and time again, and then sprinkle in some of the fun stuff like accessories or, you know, the fun party dress or the fun
Yes.
jacket or fun
Right.
pair of shoes.
Hmm.
How was that?
Awesome. It was good. I thought there was something coming more, but yeah, that was good.
I could go on and on, but
Yes. No. I mean
we'll
that
stop
was a
there.
good statement. Okay, last question. What should I keep? What should I donate? And what should I replace in my closet?
Okay. What you should keep are things that you wear, obviously, consistently. They're in good condition. They fit.
Yeah.
Do not keep things. Do not hold on to things. I have a rule with clients that if you have not worn it in a year and it does not fit,
Hmm.
then we need to pull it. You don't have to get rid of it. But I always encourage clients to put it away for 6 months, put it out of sight, um, somewhere else, so that it is not in your closet. And if you still miss it, if you think about it in that 6 months, then okay, that's fine. Bring it back. Now,
Wow.
if it's been longer than 6 months or a year and you don't think about it,
Yeah.
it's time to get rid of it. Um, and so keep the pieces that you wear consistently that fit, that you
Hmm.
love. Keep sentimental pieces, whether it's,
Yeah.
you know, something from your grandmother or your grandfather or things that you want to pass down or give away someday.
Yes.
Donate pieces that don't fit anymore and they are
Hmm.
not going to fit. I see this a lot with women where they want to hold on to certain sizes in hopes that they will return to that size one day.
Hmm.
The truth is they might. They
Yeah.
they they very well could fit in that piece of clothing that they wore in their 20s.
Right.
But often what happens is when you have those pieces of clothing in your mind, in your closet, then every time you go in, it's a reminder, oh, I can't fit into that anymore. I can't wear that anymore. And then there's just then there's like this lamenting of what I used to be or the size I used to be. No, no. Get everything that is in your closet should be things that you are wearing, you know, that you
Hmm.
can walk in and you can pull it off the rack and it's going to fit.
Yes.
Do
Right.
not have things in your closet that do not fit because it's just a whole mind
Hmm.
situation. So donate those pieces or consign them if, if they are in great condition, if
Yeah.
they are up to date, consign them. Don't necessarily donate them. If you have pieces that are like torn or stained, do not take those to donation, please.
Okay.
Um, they do not want that type of clothing. So if there's any type of damage to your clothing or there's a hole or stain, take it to a textile recycler. There are plenty of those. Or there's like Retold Recycling, which specializes in garment recycling. They will send you a bag. I did that for
Yes.
all of my baby's clothes that have like the spit up on it.
Nice.
I put it in the Retold Recycling bag, send it back to
Mm-hmm.
them, and then they recycle the textiles. And then what was the last piece? What to buy?
Replace in my
Replace.
closet.
Okay, so I would say replace anything that is ripped, torn, has a stain, but it's something that you love or you need to wear, or replace something that doesn't fit. So if it's a
Hmm.
pair of jeans that you love, but they no longer fit,
Hmm.
probably time to replace them.
Yeah. Beautiful. April, while you were answering this question, and when you were explaining about what should I keep, it reminds me of a thing of how many things we have in our closet. Maybe because of that, that questions come up, which I feel like I have nothing to wear because we have so much that we get confused what to wear or what to pair with what.
hmm You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's the statistics. I don't know how
Hmm.
scientifically true this is, but the statistic is we wear,
Yeah, as a psychologist,
I know,
maybe.
ask my husband. We wear 20% of our clothing that's in our closet.
Right.
We wear 20% of our clothing 80% of the time.
Hmm.
So I always have this analogy that I tell people. It's like with my kids. I can see my kids' playroom right through here.
Hmm.
If kids have too many toys, they have
Yes.
they get overwhelmed. They don't know what to play with. I feel the same way with our closets. When we have too much stuff in our closet, we get overwhelmed. And I see it with my kids all the time. When all of the toys are pulled out and it's just a disaster in there, they walk in there, they don't
Yeah.
even know where to begin. And
Hmm.
the same thing can be said about our wardrobes is when you have too much stuff, and especially when
Yes.
it's like not organized, it's all over the place, then we become
Hmm.
overwhelmed. And yeah, we do feel like we don't have anything to wear.
That was awesome. Thank you very much, April, for this segment of community questions. We did great. You did great. I mean, you are great. So,
Thank you.
of course, it is my pleasure. I mean, we're almost the time of our webisode completion, and but there's one topic that I wanted to touch because I believe, or maybe I think that beside that, I'm not gonna complete the whole circle, which is motherhood.
Mm.
You mentioned about a lot, in the um, during the episode about your motherhood or your experiences or with the kids, how it feels like, and so I just wanted to ask you a little more about how does your life change after this, having kids, and how you can be more sustainable as a mom or as a parent after having the kids?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, I don't know like the age range or the demographic of your audience, but
It's 18 to 34.
okay.
So, yeah, maybe
So
early
younger.
30s. Yeah, younger
Younger, but
also.
you might have people who are like, I don't want kids. And to be fairly honest with you,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I had kids late in life,
Mhm.
later in
Okay.
life.
Okay.
I wasn't sure I ever wanted to have kids. So this has been
Mhm.
the motherhood journey has been interesting for me as someone who wasn't sure I wanted to have kids. And then
Yeah.
now I have three kids, which
Wow. God
most of the
bless.
time I'm like, wait, how did this happen? I didn't know I even wanted one kid and now I have 3 kids. But it's a beautiful journey. And for your listeners, if they're like, yeah, I don't care about having kids at all, I totally get that. I was there when I was you one day, at one point. But I will say in terms of,
Mm-hmm.
how it's changed and, it is hard for the sustainability piece. Kids require a lot of things. There are the toys, there are the clothes, there are the school functions. I mean, all of the things that are required for these tiny little humans is remarkable. One thing that has been very important to me from the beginning, which I'm proud of. It's like you don't have a lot of proud parent moments, but this is like a proud parent moment for me, is I have taught my kids early on the value of secondhand. I think when I was growing up, we never shopped secondhand because I think, it was viewed as like less than, or like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, people who shop secondhand don't have a lot of money, or any of those like stereotypes that we had around shopping secondhand
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing up. I have worked very hard to debunk that myth with my children.
Yeah.
So much so that like my kids love going to the secondhand toy stores, to the secondhand kids stores.
Yeah.
Like when most of their jackets have the name of like the kid before them in their jacket, they're like, "Oh my gosh, mom, this was Ryan's or whatever," and like we'll scratch out Ryan's name and put my son's name. And there's a great children's book. It's called Rosie and the Pre-Loved Dress,
Mm-hmm.
that I've read to my kids for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's teaching them the value of like that it's okay to like we don't need new. And the
Yeah.
one thing that I think speaks to this, for example, is like my kids know we don't buy stuff throughout the year. So they
Hmm.
know it's Christmas time. It's coming Christmas time for us. They made their list they made their list the other night. My older 2 did. There were 2 things on the list, 2
Okay.
for each of them.
Wow.
And they were like, "Mom, do you think this is okay? Like, is this too much?" And I was like,
Conscious kids.
"This was great." There's I think the one thing my husband and I have really tried hard to do is to
Hmm.
prioritize experiences over
Hmm.
gifts for them. And I think it shows in the way that they're asking for gifts and the way that they don't ask for things constantly, because we don't
Yeah.
buy stuff for them throughout the year. They know, like, if we have to go to Target for something, we're
Hmm.
not buy. No, you're not getting a toy. No, absolutely not. Is your birthday? Is it a holiday? No. Like, can I buy this secondhand somewhere?
Right.
That's what we're going to do first. So
Hmm.
I think that is, while I say that because the sustainability journey and parenthood is really hard, and
Yes.
sometimes you have to sacrifice other things. Like sometimes I have to, we're eating on paper plates at night sometimes because that is just all we have time for.
Hmm.
But again, it's not perfect. Sustainability is not perfection. It is like
Yes.
what are the big rocks in the jar that we're putting in? And especially when it comes to parenthood, is like what
Right.
are the big rocks I'm putting in the jar for my kids that I want them to
Yes.
remember and that I want them to
Yes.
think about.
Right. Awesome. Thank you very much, April. Actually, you know what? Um, I know how you got ready to have kids. You've been manipulated. Don't forget you married a psychologist.
I'll be sure and tell him that. I'll be like, yeah,
So,
that's the number one question people ask me when they hear I married a psychologist. They were like, "Oh, did he trick you into this?" And it's like, maybe, I
so,
don't know.
so for those who are listening, if you don't want to have kids, just remember not to marry a psychologist.
Don't marry a
That's it.
psychologist.
Yes. Then maybe you'll keep your promise to yourself.
Yes, that's right.
But I'm sorry, maybe it's kind of personal question, but I'm just curious. Usually I hear a lot my surrounding too for people who don't want to have kids, but you were at that place and now you have kids. Do you kind of still feel like maybe I shouldn't be having, or you're grateful that you're having a kids?
Yeah, it's, I will say 100% I am so grateful for having kids. There I firmly believe this. There are lessons in life that
Hmm.
can only be learned by becoming a parent. I mean, truly,
You
and
mind
I
you
think it
mind telling us one?
I think because there's a level of selflessness that has to occur or should occur in some ways when you become a parent. Now, people can
Hmm.
have like you can be a caregiver for a parent, for a loved one, a grandparent. Those can be challenging times. But the amount of sacrifice that you have to have, especially as a mom carrying a child for 9 months, then if you decide to nurse that child, however, feed that child, that's another sacrifice. The
Yeah.
toll that it takes physically for a woman
Hmm.
um, is a huge, huge sacrifice that really you only experience if you become a mom or, my husband. I think it would be interesting to hear my husband's perspective. But I mean, I think I still have those moments where I'm like, man, I've given up a
This.
lot for these kids. Like they have no idea. And that's fine. Like they don't need to know.
Okay.
But I would never ever begrudge anyone who says, no, I don't like I have a few friends who are childless and um chose not to have kids. And like
Hmm.
I think that is great for them. I think that was the best decision for them. And I would never like talk anyone to having kids if they were on the fence because it is like the most selfish, sacrificial thing that you will do. And it's hard. It is there. Nothing has taught me more than becoming a parent, honestly. So, um, all that to say, like if you're on the fence about having kids, like
Hmm.
it's something you really kind of want to be sure about.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you very much, April. There would be no better way to end this episode like this way, with positivity, right?
Yeah.
Yes, before we go, or you go, let us know where people can find you. Yeah, let us know this first.
First and foremost, probably I'm most active on Instagram.
Hmm.
That's AP, A as in apple, P as in parent, AP
I'm sorry.
underscore
I'm sorry.
styled, AP styled with a D. So AP underscore STYLED. That's my handle on Instagram, or
Hmm.
apstyle.com is my website.
Yes.
And that's where people can find me and always reach out.
Perfecto.
I'm always, yeah, feel free to connect either through my website or on Instagram.
Perfecto. Thank you very much, April. All the links that she mentioned, you can find it in the description of this episode. You can go check it out. Please support. And, you can actually believe April because the amount of knowledge, experience that she had in this industry, she knows what she's talking about. She knows how she can help you with the issues that we have discussed or beyond, or, kind of similar to this one. Thank you. But I should be asking this question before we go to the links thing. But one advice or any message you want to give it away to the listeners, I'm including into that.
Okay. I would just say the one piece of advice is just start small. Like that is my biggest piece of advice is that there are so many things that can command our attention in terms
Mm-hmm.
of things that we can do for change and for impact. When it comes to fashion, just start small and see where that takes you and realize that in terms of sustainability and becoming a more conscious consumer, like it is a journey. And as I
Yeah.
said, I've been on this journey for 20 years and it's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect,
Right.
but start small, start somewhere.
Okay. One more advice for maybe upcoming new parents.
Giving advice for new parents. Don't research too much. I think I made that mistake with my first child. I think once you're firstborn, there's a tendency to overlearn and to research.
Try to be perfect parent.
Yeah. Well, you're trying to be perfect and you're just trying to, I mean, I don't know, you're just trying to learn like what does all of this mean? What is, and babies do all kinds of weird things. So I trust your gut most of the time. But don't over research and just know that like you're going to be fine. And if it's a first time parent, it's going to suck for a few months, but I promise it gets better.
I see. Perfect. Thank you very much, April. And thank you very much to all the listeners to this webisode. It was such a pleasure to have you on this webisode and such a great conversation. And I'll see you guys with the next one.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See ya.